Hi, everybody. Welcome to Delve In Talk Show. I'm one of your hosts, Loren Malloy, and this is my beautiful co host, Jess.
Hi, I'm Jess. What's going on?
What's going on? All right, listen, everybody. There's a freaking snowstorm going on, so I understand if there are some connection issues, but we're not going to allow that to happen. But
No.
no connection issues, but we will have a wonderful discussion about unsolved mysteries about planes and disappearances and reappearances and vortexes and triangles.
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. Now, before we get started, please make sure you share this video everywhere, like the page, turn those notifications on so that when we go live, you're with us. Now, if you're watching, I need you to make sure you're commenting on this live video through the Delve In page because I know it's been shared around. But once you do that, I'll get to see your comment and then I'll be able to put it up on the screen for both of us to say hi or discuss what you want to say. And that way it's like we're all together. I know, it's super cute. Let's go on to creepy stuff now. That's like, dee, dee. Okay, let's move on to creepy stuff. Planes that have disappeared and then reappeared with dead bodies on it. Yes! This is like my kind of topic. Happy horrors,
Right?
everybody.
Yes.
Seriously though, Jess, you sent me that link about the article of what was it? It was
It was Santiago Flight 513. The missing plane that landed after 35 years with 92 skeletons aboard. Come
90
on,
freaking.
that's the craziest. And I can't wait to get into this.
Now, excuse me for coughing. We all know it's not sickness; it's medication. Um, but
She's constantly medicated.
it's the only way to survive this crazy world
I
because
know.
a lot of this stuff has been kind of proven in a lot of ways that this stuff happens, and then you'll get people going, "No, it's not real," and I'm like, I can't survive a planet that has conspiracy theory as a word to mean like null and void versus dig deeper. Let's delve into this topic. So you set my mind like scurrying like a little ferret trying to like figure everything out because you know how I
Right.
get. The minute
Right.
I'm taking medication, I'm like, yes, let's dig into this topic.
Right.
And I found a bunch of links where it was like lists of different flights that have disappeared and some interesting connections. And one of the ones I wanted to bring up was only because I literally remember it happening
Right.
was the Malaysia Airlines flight MH370. I had to look it up to make sure I got it right.
I know that
But
was a long one.
yeah, that was.
Yeah.
It carried 239 people. All right. It vanished from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing March 8th, 2014. Like months and months it disappeared. Months and months. And the article literally just leaves it there for us. So that's funny because I was on a treadmill trying not to like black out from like, oh, I can finish this, routine. And I look up and on the TV screen it's talking about how this flight has disappeared. And I remember thinking like in a few weeks I'm supposed to get on a flight and this freaking thing disappeared
Right.
and everybody's freaking out. Meanwhile, on another TV, because you know how in a lot of the gyms they have like a row of TVs and they all have different channels on them, so that way you can
Yes.
position yourself to the show you want to watch.
Right.
Um, it had that Japan had bought all of United States debt, and that Japan and China were in discussions about trading all of our world debt over. So I was like, wait a minute. Did China like capture this plane? Like I'm on a treadmill trying, not to black out from like exercise, and it was gone forever. I don't even remember how long it was gone, and nobody had a freaking answer. Just like with yours, it's like they don't have anything other than a vortex must have stolen it,
Yeah,
right?
but the difference here is that okay, so check it out. It went missing.
Mm-hmm.
35 years later, they found it on top of the um on top of the airport circling, waiting for clearance to land. Now the radio people couldn't get in touch with them, but they did make it an area clear for them to land, and they landed perfectly. And when the people at the airport came in to guide it in and inspect the vehicle, it was this like 1950s airliner. It looked like it was brand spanking new. It didn't look like it was 35 years old, and there were no lights or anything on it. It just came to a stop and then dropped dead. What? So nobody opened the doors, and nothing was going on. So they ended up going into it and found that everybody in there was strapped in their seat, but they were skeletons. They went into the cockpit, and all of the airline workers were in the cockpit as well. And they said that
everybody was dead.
Everybody was a skeleton.
What?
And they said that the pilot still had his hands on the steering component. So they have no idea what. The only explanation is that it was in a vortex. But the thing of it is that it landed safely.
It landed.
And it was circling.
It fucking circled, then landed perfectly.
Right.
And then everybody's fucking dead. Like,
yeah.
What? And I'm not even overreacting. And if anybody isn't having the same reaction, like, think about that for a second. Gone for 30-something years. And then all of a sudden, like, Halifax Airport. Yes, there's a plane circling. They're not answering. Oh, they're landing. Okay, well, they're not responding. Nobody's coming out. Okay, let's go in. What? Everyone's dead. Like, imagine the report that somebody had to write, or the phone call that, sir, it landed. Yes, it landed perfectly fine, but they're all fucking dead. The pilot, fucking dead, with his hand still on the freaking steering wheel. Yeah. That's a seriously crazy.
Right. So what I put together in my head was that while they were in the air, they were still in their time warp. And the moment that they hit Earth, that connection may have been their demise. So time may have caught up with them as soon as they hit Earth.
Well, that would make sense.
Right? Because I don't know.
Okay. So most of the movies, and then I'm basing shit on movies and a little bit of science. I remember, but
there is truth from what we see in movies. That's
because we do our research. When people write most movies or books, just like I do, you do a lot of research and you hope you get it as accurately as you can. Right. For the budget you got. Now, sometimes it's not great. Sometimes they say fuck it because they want to make a different story. But in this case, a lot of times what I remember, maybe even from Doctor Who knows? See how I did that? Who knows? Anyway.
Yeah, but
but literally the difference would cause, okay, so like if you were on some other plane, some other world, whatever the hell, and then you came back to this one, if that planet, let's say it was Venus, just for shits and giggles,
yeah,
and that one has a different rotation, it's not 365 days a year. So the minute it comes back, even from something like that, it would cause a difference. That's why when like astronauts come back, they have to take a while for like decompression, right? So imagine not having decompression time. Imagine the fact that they opened the door was what killed them all. Just and they didn't mention all the dust. I mean, I'm being a jerk, I guess, but my mind goes crazy. So my mind's like, make the movie, somebody make it.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but like I sent you a link and I didn't really read it, and I know you didn't really read it yet because it was like last second, but it was a Wikipedia thing, so who knows how accurate. Because I do know people can go in and hack it or whatever, but it was a list of all the air flights, planes, depending on the size, military, some wreckage, civilian, etc., from legends, 19th century, 20th century, through everything. And there is a freaking long list. Just between 1920 and 1939, there looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not counting all these guys. It's like 100. I don't know. It's at least 40 or 50. So if you look up on Wikipedia, list of missing aircraft, do it for yourself. Look at this ridiculous list of stuff. So in some cases, I wonder, did the whole thing get like, okay, I can't. How do you explain that it circled and then landed fine?
Yeah. Right. So, but with all of these, there's got to be something. I mean, what's known to us is what? The Bermuda Triangle. We know that there's crazy stuff because there have been people that have witnessed it, to live it, and then was able to come back to tell us the story. And that's why we know about the Bermuda Triangle, other than people going missing right over it. And then, you know, who knows if they're making up the story that they found.
It's a lot, though.
No. Of, like, you know, how people go over and they're like, oh, they must have went down. We found the remains of the plane. What if that's what if that's just made up? Because now at this point, if planes are coming back and landing with skeleton on it, I mean, it's not too far-fetched to think that people saying that they did find the remains of these planes over the Bermuda Triangle just to cover up the fact that it's a known area, hotspot, where there's time traveling or some sort of time warp or wormhole or something like that.
Every time anybody says time warp, I need to sing it. Let's do the time warp again. Okay.
Oh my God, I didn't even realize that was the words to that
song. I apologize to everybody who had to hear it, but it's like an unfortunate OCD thing. Certain words. Somebody says, damn it, immediately in my head I go, Janet. And I feel like when somebody... Damn it, Janet, I love you. And I know that's a sidetrack, but I love doing that. And that's how my brain works. So welcome to the world of Loren. But, you know, the fact that it disappeared for 37 years and it was not in any area of any of the triangles. Because did you know there's one in Michigan? I didn't know.
Yeah, I was just looking at that.
Guys, I don't know. Does anybody watching have any idea that there's more than one, like, Bermuda Triangle, that there's literally like 3, that one of them is in Michigan of all places? Like, that's a crazy statement.
It's over a body of water, right?
Yeah, and that was the other thing we were talking about with Tom and Tim Conwell, was how many UFO incidents happen over bodies of water. And then there was something in the article talking about, with the Michigan one, in one of the cases, where all they saw was like a red flashing light. And remember, we were talking about that whole story about the guy who was seeing all those like red lights and it was just over water?
Yes, right.
So, I mean...
So maybe it is the air, space, and water together create these time warps.
Yeah, but where the one you're talking about, it wasn't near any of these.
I think it went out of Miami. Hold on. So it was out of I believe. Oh no, Santiago flight. Let me see. Takes off in Germany and lands in Brazil. So it took off in Germany in 1954 and lands in Brazil in 1989 with 92 skeletons aboard.
Like, skeletons. Okay, so there is a ginormous body of water between those two. I just had to I had to freaking Google it just to make sure, like, I had a good reference point. Okay, so from Germany, they had to fly over Spain for sure, and then over an entire body of water near Africa, and then all the way down. Wow. So that's okay, first of all, that's like a huge big difference. It's not like Germany, and then they landed in Poland. This is like 37 years it took them to go from Germany to
Right.
Brazil. I
Right.
don't ever want to fly on that flight because like they don't know how to do that right. So like think about it. Like how long? Oh, there's so many thoughts. Like imagine the people on that flight. I can't. I'll get sad. But like.
Right.
Like, were they in limbo? Were they all talking and like starving? Like were they?
But
fine?
then I was right. I was thinking no. In some realms, time is an illusion. So they might not even have realized it passed. What if it was like 2 moments for them? And they were like, how the hell are we landing already? We just got on this goddamn plane. You know?
One of the reasons I love you so much is that's the kind of shit that makes me love you. Just
Right?
got on this goddamn plane.
Right?
Love you. Okay, but like, one of the things that just hit me in the head was the thought of Germany, and during that time, and they were doing a lot of very yucky testing.
Big time.
What if this was one of their like, we're gonna learn how to like do the whole, how Star Trek had like beam me down, Scotty? Like imagine they were trying to do that with a plane to a different location and then something happened.
Well, what was that? Oh my God. It was on like one of the Bob Lazar documentaries where just around this time as well, they did that with a ship in the Navy where they did the cloaking.
Yeah.
Where they made it invisible, right? And then when it came back to sight, all of the crew members were like embedded in the metal and shit.
Oh God, yeah, I remember that now. Especially, I'm trying to see if it's in one of the lists.
What in the hell was that?
Seeing the boat in it somewhere. I mean, if somebody has the answer, that'd be fucking great.
Yeah, anybody? Oh,
I always hate having.
So they absolutely were doing things like that in the, and if you like, this is around the same time the Roswell crash happened, right before 1950.
Mm-hmm.
And they were saying that was like then was the birth of all of this technology, and people are reverse engineering it. The Germans took whatever they wanted and whoever they needed to make this possible, kind of took their troops, went to Antarctica, and did their whole thing that still exists today. But yeah, it would have only been if you had somebody working on your side that knew this technology, and you were already doing experiments like this Navy ship that they were trying to cloak, and things went wrong. This was 1950.
Yeah.
So, right 1954. So that would have given them more time to have it, and it went out of Germany. So when you put that together, that kind of makes sense. But of course, this is just speculation. I know very little about this stuff. Don't come at me, guys.
Well, no, because like, please, that's not happening. First of all, that's the whole point. Like,
yeah. No, because I'm watching people on YouTube do their podcasts or their things, and you would never, in a million years, would think some of the things that they're like, hey guys, don't attack me on this, but I'm just saying that,
Yeah, well, it's one of those like, see, I'm cranky today. We have a 2-2 portal going on today. 2-2 2021 is a massive portal. There's been a ton of stuff that's happened in our world that if you're paying attention, it's like, yes, it has begun. Things are starting to change in an epic direction. Those topics alone. But I'm going to say it is definitely affecting my energy enough that I'm a little irritable, just a little like, rawr.
If any time, I've never wanted to disappear more in my life than I want to now. And, I like doing this because, like, there's 9 feet of snow outside right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't seen people in a few days other than, my beau over there. And my cat, oh, I love my kitty. Hi.
That's awkward. She's
Oh,
talking about her pet.
my goose, my cat.
Your cat.
Oh, and by the way, my
Motherfucker.
cat's name is Goose, and he is gray, but that is not why I named him Goose. I thought that it would be really funny to name him an animal that he's not. And I wanted it to be one syllable because I was told that when you're training an animal to learn its name, they get it quicker if it's one syllable. So I was like, he's not a bird, but it'd be funny if I called him one. So
Hi, Tim. We were just talking about you.
Hey, Tim.
Girl, break out the violin, LOL. Tiniest violin playing only for you, Tim.
Hey, Tim. I'm watching some of that stuff that you suggested. I hope you looked at that other article. There's a cool not article. There's a cool thing out called Surviving Death. Oh, I'm getting a few of them mixed up. But man, I'm just binging all these Prime shows.
It's because there's a huge store going on.
Yeah, it's crazy.
We were actually just talking about you being on the show and your dad being on the show.
Yes.
Talking about how UFOs have been over bodies of water because we've been talking about this flight. Say it again, Jess, because you have it in front of you.
So it's the story of the Lost Santiago Flight 513. And it was a flight that took off in 1954, and it took off in Germany, and then it landed in 1986. Hold on, 1986.
You said yup.
In Brazil, and there were it circled the airport, waiting for clearance to land. None of the radio controllers could get anybody on the plane, but they did make way for them to land. They landed perfectly, and when the vehicle was approached, people went in and noticed that 88 passengers and 4 crew members were found, all skeletons.
All skeletons. That thing freaking I'm going to do it again. That thing freaking circled and landed safely. Like, that's a freaking big deal. And then everybody being dead. So that's where we are with this. We've been talking about possibilities of like reasonings why, since it left from Germany, we are saying that maybe it was some kind of experiment they were doing that went awry.
Reverse engineer aliens.
Over so many bodies of water that we were thinking maybe, aliens. I mean, what's that one meme where the guy's just like, aliens?
It's like, why is the weekend over? Aliens.
That's like my new thing in my head so many times.
I love that dude's hair. Dude, he gets me every time. But he's so knowledgeable, man. Like, every time he's on a show, I'm like, oh, good, he's on. Because
we have to contact him and get him on the show.
I mean, he looks a little crazy, but he's really awesome.
I'll cancel it. I'm good. Like, I'm crazy. It's a good kind of crazy until you
No, I mean, his hair. Whatever.
I'll wear a crazy hat that day.
Right?
Kidding, sorry.
No, but he's so knowledgeable. I'm always like, yes, this guy's on.
Watching has any ideas or comments or has any extra information about this topic or something similar that has been fascinating you, please leave it in the comments. We'd love to know about it. We can always talk about it on the next episode as well if you leave it after the show has aired and this is a replay for you. But I think it's interesting how many flights have disappeared, and then it's not like they all come back fine,
right, or come back at all. So the way that the article that you sent me has just so many, and I wonder, none of them say we found the remains. It just says disappeared and never again were seen. And
I'm going to put it in the comments section. I put it up on the screen so that people can have the Wikipedia link of the whole list of it, just because I know people don't want to look it up for themselves.
Right. But these are like full planes of people. It's there's so many of them. It's almost like impossible for us not to be a direct descendant of one of these people. Like, there's just so many. Like, oh, my grandmother was on that flight, or 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 I
I
know
didn't know
my
what you meant at first. I was like, I'm a direct descendant of a dead person on a flight. I
right,
don't.
like that disappeared. There's no way. I'm gonna do like one of those ancestry.com shits.
Shit, this is another reason why I love you. Your brain is so fascinating that you thought of something that I never thought of. And that's not usually something that happens with me. So that's why I'm always delighted by you. I'm like, what did you just say? That's delightful. That's awesome.
Right?
That's a new point of
Hell.
view. It's one of the reasons I like doing the show is when we have guests on or people comment or we try to like find these interesting topics, it really opens up perspectives on things. It makes you kind of like talk about something versus just being depressed about, I can't go outside and there's snow. You know what I mean? Sorry, that was loud, but like, come on, that's weird, man. It's weird.
So the latest one is September 13th, 2019, and it's currently still missing en route.
What? Where did they go?
The region is I can't even say this. So it is the Republic of Sakha. Is Federal Russian Republic.
Oh, okay.
So that's flight MBB Bo 105. Wow. So I mean, that's like, these people. This is in 2019. So I mean, I'm sorry, 2019. This was only 2 years ago. So from the start of this list, right? From the start of this list, 1901. I'm sorry, 1908 is the first one. And the last one is September of 2019. And there's just hundreds in between. And there are some of these planes held up to 239 people. Come on. You have to be
777. That's the one we were talking about. Yeah.
We have to be related to some of these people. There's no doubt.
Oh yeah, that's the one we've been talking about is the Malaysian Airlines, is the Boeing 777. And it also said claiming that it was discovered in like just debris of it, but they don't have any real proof. The plane is still marked as missing. So like nobody even came back from that fucking flight. They were just like, I think we found a wing. Okay, close the case. Everybody, we found a wing. They're dead.
Yeah, bullshit, man. They don't even do like forensic analysis on where that wing how that wing came off, because if that's all they found was the wing, it's a possibility it was lasered off by something else, another.
We found the black box, and I keep asking, I'm like, I know it's kind of a joke, but like, why is it made out of the black box? And people are like, it's too heavy, this, that, and the other. I'm like, I feel
the fuck out of here.
But like, okay, so here, and in both of those cases, it was the Indian Ocean was another one of those where they have a lot of disappearances. So here's huge bodies of water, and there's a bunch of stuff that makes sense. One, people forget there's still pirates, so there's still water pirates. So, and I say water pirates because I feel like if individual bad guys are flying planes, they might try to take over a plane in the air too. Then they're air pirates. Okay?
Let me tell you, there's pirates of all sorts.
Little spaceships of our own. We're gonna be like air pirates, and we're not.
I'm a cabin pirate. I'll run a cabin.
So, but like, could it, if the plane had a problem, was there pirates? Because a lot of those open waters, they'll be like, be careful bringing any kind of like party boat into private waters because they could still take you. Yes. But we still have the problem because it's international waters. It's because you're doing crime deals in international waters that you don't want to clean up the pirate situation. East India Trading Company still exists through pirates, folks. Okay, that's my joke. I'm sorry.
How does she know all this information?
It's all true. One day, everything I say, like, fuck.
I'm gonna start writing everything down and be like, the Book of Lauren.
Oh my god, dude! Just the amount of stuff that has come true that I'm not happy that it did, but like I was talking about 2020 for like since I was a small kid. I was like, once 2020 is over, we'll be fine. Like, you're 7, Yeah.
I know. They're like, you're not even gonna be flying cars. What do you mean?
They're like, oh, magical thinking. No, just kidding. But I think it's fascinating that not only have we have all these planes that go missing, we have all these UFO sightings. I mean, a friend of mine actually posted a video. I'm not sure if he's going to want me to use his name or not. I should have asked him, but I wasn't thinking about it. He actually posted a video recently of him being at a hotel and a light sequence above water. You know how we were talking about on a previous episode where certain light patterns and it couldn't have been anything other than possibly a UFO because it didn't make sense. Right. So my friend Sean, he posted it, and of course it's one of those things that the universe popped up for me. I was like, okay, I'm looking. And the way it looked, for sure, it was the red dots in the sky, the pattern, all this stuff. And if Tim's still watching, I think it was Tim Conwell who I actually immediately tagged on it. And I was like, look at this. Because
me too. I was tagged on it too. Yes.
Okay. So yes, that's the one I'm talking about. And he actually posted a picture of when it was daylight, how it's just fucking water. So it doesn't make sense with who? Tim wrote who? Who? Not you. Couldn't be. Then who? Like, this is the shit that Mercury retrograde has started, folks.
Tim.
Normally I hibernate. Tim, sweetheart, you were totally tagged in that video, wasn't he?
Yes, he was tagged in it. I think he commented.
You asked questions. Tim, you wrote, take a picture of it during daylight, and then he posted the picture of daylight, and you went, oh wow, or something. It was the Cookie Monster. He wrote, it was the cookie. Who stole the cookies from the cookie jar? It was Cookie Monster.
Okay. Tim, what do you think about this plane that landed with 92 skeletons aboard? I bet your dad has.
Jess, is your freaking necklace out again? Is it clonking?
I'll stay still.
It's one or the other. I'm just saying, all of us are like,
it might now be these.
All the toggles in the world, my kingdom for a standby. We're good. I was just one of those like, what's going on?
I know. I don't want it. I know our last week, man, they were so good, and some of
that was to the previous conversation. Tim wrote, I have seen it. It's odd. The video we were talking about that the guy posted. That's as much as he wants to say on the topic, it seems. We don't want to go into it. He doesn't want to give any professional opinion. But go ahead. You were saying.
Oh, yeah. Last week, the paranormal crew, they were pretty good. But the interference with the microphone was, it was the
divot boxes. It was and I wrote gin boxes. I apologize, universe. But it's the Dybbuk boxes. I swear. The minute he said, by the way, it was the only show that I wore my hardcore protection necklace before we even started the show. One of my spiritual team members was like, you need to put this necklace on. And the only time I wear that freaking necklace is either when we're going to be at a con with a ton of people or something's about to happen or I'm doing like cleansing or something. Like it needs to be a big deal. So like literally I have this piece made. I wonder if it's in my bag. Hold on. I have this piece made by David Ostrom. He's a friend of mine on my Facebook, and he made this actual specialized item that has like a blessed cross in it, holy waters in it. It has like 100 different freaking like protection stones and stuff. And I'm like, it's really weird. I'm in my own fucking room right now, and you guys are making me put this on. Then we start having that momentary interference where we're trying to get him to move around.
Yeah.
Immediately, somebody just on my team kind of did one of those like, say, I told you, wait for it. And I kept waiting for it. And all of a sudden I was like, dude, do you got something in your house? Maybe. And I was waiting for a Ouija board to be the answer. And he goes, nah, I got some Dybbuk boxes. Dybbuk boxes, holy fuck. Like,
I want to do more. I want to do more shows about that. Totally. I'm going to do some research on it. We can maybe track down some people who have them, who can have like good stories about it, because that piqued my, inside, I was like,
yeah, and
just
I don't want
thinking about it all night.
I am not bashing it at all. It just, I knew, and that's why I was bringing it up, was because the interference was definitely because of those boxes being like, motherfuckers, you better bring me up in this conversation. Lorraine Malloy needs to know you have me, because like it was like, I'm not wearing it tonight. Nobody made me wear it. prediction. I don't have crystals in my tits today. Like nothing. Like
Oh,
I need my bra, but yeah.
Speaking of crystals, right?
Yeah.
So Tim was telling me, I think you were on a three-way call with us this time, where he told me how to map out or pick stones, and that I would feel like, energy in the stones, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I went to a store called Planet Earth, and it's just like, a store that has all of that stuff and all, really great crystals. And I was doing this and I couldn't feel anything.
Okay.
And I picked up this giant piece of black tourmaline, and all of a sudden that must have um that must have charged me or something,
So it got
because
the nasty thing that was draining you.
well, I was able to feel every stone. And you know how I knew it wasn't fake or in my head? Because I was expecting to feel it on my palms. It didn't. I felt it in the backs of my hands and on my cuticles. So I
Good.
was like, oh, I was expecting to feel some energy on my palms, but
Mm-hmm.
no, this is what it's supposed to feel like.
Yeah.
And I felt like I had to keep shaking my hands out. It was like pins and needles.
Oh,
It was so I was just
so
like,
proud of you.
so cool. But it was that one stone though
It was big enough
that
that was able to pull out the blockage that was causing the issue.
I
That's
didn't
what.
know. I don't know,
It's
but
awesome.
I didn't think to buy that piece.
Oh, you don't have to. I don't think you have
It
to.
charged me. That piece of stone made it possible for me to now feel stones without touching them.
First of all, yes, that's exactly, and that was my transformation. Also, I think I had told you previously. Someone was like, "Hold this. Do you feel anything?" I was like, "No." And she's like, "You
No.
will one day." The same thing. By the
Like
way, I'm
maybe
saying
one
this
day.
because Tim Conwell wrote, "You're welcome. You move up in the world." LOL.
Yeah, I actually contacted him immediately. I was like still in the parking lot of the place, and I
That's
was like,
awesome.
Tim, I haven't told anybody this yet, and actually, like, I think Lorraine, you're the third person. I keep forgetting about it. I keep
Oh, that's
forgetting,
awesome.
but it's such a big thing for me.
It is. It's a huge monumental jump for you,
Yeah,
and it's also because you've been doing enough work. Do you have black tourmaline in the grouping of stuff we've been talking about?
yeah, I have it in my little pouch. That's
Good.
I have this little leather pouch that I tie up, and I can make a necklace that has blue kyanite in it,
Good.
and
That's
it
good.
has a green
Aventurine.
aventurine in it. That's to like wake up my senses a little bit, as well as protect me. But I also have the obsidian, right?
Good. Yeah.
Obsidian,
Obsidian.
and the black tourmaline chips that you sent a link for me, and I got 2 big baggies of them.
Good.
And I have them in little baggies in all 4 corners of each room.
Good.
And also, that thing isn't bothering me anymore because I now am able to control that fear thing.
Good.
Like, I don't get that rush of adrenaline when something happens. I like roll my eyes and I'm like, okay. And it just doesn't want anything to do with me anymore because I'm not feeding it.
See, remember I used to say, no fuel, no fire. If you work on your fear responses when they pop up, they're just learning mechanisms. It's like, oh, that freaked me out. Okay, thanks for giving me a heads up, weird kind of therapist person. And then you work on that, and then when you don't have that fear, that's why I'd be like, I literally had that problem the other day where I was like, all you do is that? Okay. And I was able to because that's how you beat it, when you're not like dealing with that.
Well, the thing that was tricking me into feeling anything was that I was having such anger towards it because I was like, how the fuck dare you even try this? Like, this is my space. This is like, I've never felt murderous towards, entity. I was like trying to
eat. That's one of the first energies they eat, and then the next one is always, because the first level would always be anger, but that's almost like the cherry and the icing.
Right. I was like, how do I stab to death something that's just an energy? Like, I was getting that angry, but now I don't even give a shit. But there is a lot of activity on the property now. All of the cabins all of the cabins are being rented every weekend. So there's fresh meat. So that's a possibility of why it's kind of leaving me
Okay.
alone.
I want to get to the comments from Tim.
Yes.
He wrote that stone was hers. So I guess,
Oh, okay, go back and get it. It's like 150 bucks.
That's why I say you don't have to get it. I think it really was just doing you a favor. I believe very often that stones come into our life to help us. Like very often people will say, I had this amazing stone and then it disappeared because
it's enormous.
Yeah, it did its job for you. It was like, fist bump. It'd be like if I helped you up when you fell down. You don't get to just bring me home.
But there is something inside of me that's thinking I should probably go back and get it.
I mean, if he says that and you trust it, then go ahead. I'm just saying if it's a lot of money, then it, depends.
Yeah.
You can do it.
I mean, some things are worth it. And you know what? I'll be helping out a shop that's probably not doing that. With COVID, they're, it's not like a commercial shop. It's like a little mom and pop.
He wrote, did you get the book about crystals?
I didn't get a book that tells me what crystals do. I have a book that identifies them. It doesn't tell me what the healing qualities are or what it helps you with spiritually.
I might have one I could bring to you. He wrote, damn, I was ready to do a swift kick on someone, LOL.
With what? With what?
That one had to do with nothing bothering you anymore.
I know. Everybody was coming here with like ninjaing out. They were like, I'm going to karate chop some shit over there.
I'm still throwing up and karate chopping some shit.
What?
I said, fuck anything else. I'm still going to karate chop some
So I was cleaning the church on Sunday, and the girl that I clean with is very, very gifted as well. We all of a sudden heard the church bells that no longer exist.
Yeah.
So she was telling me that when it snows, she hears this residual energy and she has a feeling something traumatic happened at the church during a snowstorm of some sort. And that's the reason why she's putting it together.
Well, the first thing I see is when Gettysburg, because remember, Tim said they had to walk through, and we were talking about that in a previous episode. All I see is them tromping through the snow and the bells going off. That hit me. Did you see my eyes? I was like, ah. So yeah. I don't know if it's true or not, but I don't normally.
Well, I had told my landlord because he's like, you didn't have to leave just because the girls left. And I was like, listen, man, I don't mean, this, whether you want to believe it or not, you got something on this property. And me and Nikki experienced something in the church, and I just didn't feel comfortable going there and finishing it myself because my whole right side of my body went pins and needles to the point where my face, I felt the hairs being pulled like a magnet. So she thought that something was trying to interfere with me, but the stones were helping block it. But she also said she thinks that I shut off half my brain to cope because there's only one side of my body that's feeling this. Okay. What is your theory?
It's one of my indicators because it just went crazy. I see it trying to almost touch you, and that kept it away. I don't think half your brain shut off. I think that was the side it was standing on.
Well, maybe, but throughout
I don't know. Other people might have suggestions, but I don't.
But it was from my foot all the way up to my head. I mean, that whole side. But also, when I was
on that side staring at you.
But when I moved around it was still on that side.
Okay. Also, everybody has different ways of indicators. Like you said, back of your hands and cuticles. Not everybody in the world says cuticles.
Right.
So
a little unusual, but
everybody's magic is unique. It's like that movie with Jack Black about the house with clocks or whatever. I love that freaking movie. I think it's underrated. I don't think people even talk about how much truth was in that movie. But one of the things that was a massive statement that is so true is every individual is an individual. Your DNA is different than mine. Your experiences make you. Your auric energy and colors and abilities are blah, 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 everything's different. So the way you would experience versus I would and etc. has got to be different. There's no way everybody got to fit into one little box but be told we're supposed to be unique and originals. You can't have both of that. That don't make sense. It's opposite land. That's why this world drives me crazy. Is, they go, everybody can be in a box. Have everybody have the exact same unique experiences at all times. Everybody,
you know what you sound like right now? You sound like when Beetlejuice was throwing his voice.
Yes. Or just throw your voice. Call your friends. Yep.
Have a party.
Have a party. Come in, we'll have a little nosh. Yep. Yeah, I am that girl. But I think everybody's got, different ways of experiencing it. So for me, one of the ways is I get a weird nose twitch. I know something's going on and information's going on. I know it's spiritual stuff. You've seen me. I get so overheated that I'm like, hold on, I'm dying from heat.
So, another thing I've been hearing a lot of lately. I've heard it in the past in my life, that high-pitched ringing in one of your ears. I've heard that before, but lately it's been happening a lot. And I don't know if that's one of the indicators.
So what I was taught and how I experience it is twofold. One, I put a decree out that only entities of light can speak to me. Otherwise, they're not able to, unless I'm doing some kind of checking to see if there's an entity or not. Otherwise, if I hear a high-pitched frequency and I say, if this message is from someone of light, let me understand it. Usually the high pitch stops and I'll start getting images or understandings, or I'm walking over to something trying to figure out why I'm holding this to go, oh, you needed this? Okay. That kind of stuff. If it's negative and I put that decree out, it usually stops and I get nothing. And it's like, all right, thanks for wasting my fucking time, assholes. Because that's my way of joking. We know I'm a little brash or whatever, but life experiences and Light Warrior has a little bit of harshness to her. Throw your voice for your friends. So I think that's a major part of that. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, I just have to, but I will tell you this. I haven't had that gut-wrenching feeling anymore.
Good.
This fucking cat scared the
shit
out of me. But usually, my gut will be speaking to me so bad that I'll have to do that shower cleanse.
Yeah. But you've been doing that, so that's part of keeping it off so it doesn't amplify, plus the crystals. Right?
Yeah.
Also, whatever it is knows I'm coming. I'm coming to Mecca. Hail or hot water. I gotta stop doing
that. So, there was actually a lot of sulfur smell around today.
In the house?
Outside when we were shoveling, and I was like, maybe the septic tank's all fucked up from the snow, which is a possibility. Alfred thinks that it's the natural gas burn off from but I never smelled sulfur around before.
I don't think so, but I always like leaving that as a possibility. Anytime I smell it, I think it's always an indicator, unless you got some bad eggs going on. If it's not your septic tank. Right?
It smells like shit, not eggs. It smelled like straight up shit. I was like, I was smelling it too, so it wasn't just
Okay, you both smelled it.
Yes.
Okay. Did either of you feel and get sick afterwards? Did you
start
fighting?
No.
Were you super exhausted?
Well, he
besides
passed out.
So that's hard to add to the mixture.
Right.
Well, you definitely know you have some negative entity on that property. It's fucking with everything, and everybody's got activity. So fresh blood. There's tons of icing and cherries. You know me. I like toppings, and I like toppings, not so much the ice cream. So when I get ice cream from Friendlies, okay, bad story. I'm going to do it because it's funny. I decided to fuck it. I'm going to splurge. I order ice cream from Uber Eats from Friendlies, I think, or whatever the fuck it was. And it was make your own. So 1 scoop of ice cream and 8 billion fucking toppings on top. This freaking kid comes to the door, and he was supposed to just put it down, and he knocks and he steps away. And I'm like, what? Because he's still holding it. He's like, I just need to meet the person who ordered this. There was so many toppings. We had 2 cups, and we had to mix it all together as he's just slowly shoving it at me. And I'm like, I'm Gollum downstairs in the dark eating toppings. He's like,
dude,
it was a girl. I was like, who else would do that?
Right. You think
he was young, man. He he was young, like, you know,
right. It was a
everybody
girl.
under like 35, and I'm like, you child, you. No, not
Right.
really, but
right now, I'm on a peanut butter and whipped cream kick, but not
oh
peanut butter like out of a jar, like that Reese's peanut butter topping.
God.
It is so good, man. But this shit,
Yeah.
it's so good. But keep it upside down, guys, because if you don't constantly shake it, it feels like it's full, but there'll be like a mass of hard friggin' peanut butter on the bottom. So always keep it upside down.
Okay,
So,
but seriously though, back to serious topic, Mecca, which is what we're calling your place, and I've had a ton of stuff happen recently where that word has played into conversations, popped up in articles, meditations, all sorts
really?
Of so it's a big deal. Something's going on with your property, and I can't wait.
Well, the reason why I think it was like acting up today was because the landlord was going around with his tractor trying to clear the snow because he has a little plow on his tractor. And when he's doing activity, when he's starting to dig up shit, like he's building a bridge and another unit, he brings his tractor over to bring all his supplies. So that might be like the indicator to whatever's on the property that, oh, things are moving again.
All I hear is that song, She Thinks My Tractor's Sexy. Sorry.
I never heard that song.
Oh my God, you have to see the video. Okay, even if you guys watch it on mute, She Thinks My Tractor is Sexy. I don't even know when the song came out. It's some bad country song. I think it's hilarious just for the fact he's like wearing short shorts and he's riding a tractor. It's bad. I usually like make people watch it on mute just because it's funny. If you like country, then it's a good song, but like it's just one of those little words trigger stuff. But the tractor really could be how somebody died in some kind of like farm accident that triggers it. I mean,
this was all farmland, yeah.
We don't know what entities or issues are on that property. I mean, like we were talking about on a previous episode with I think Tim Conway was that because of the possible limestone, because of the water source, because of
the running river,
because of the running river, because of Gettysburg being close, so they could have had all sorts of catastrophes there. There's so much going on that it is like a mecca. And you know, I mean, you could have 18 different entities on that property all working together. You could have a lady of the lake and a small group of children all trying to kill people.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a story. But one thing, when Tim was telling you about possibly get that stone,
yeah,
what he also wrote, and I just wanted to add back to it for a second, was he said get a smaller stone and work with that, but you do have tons of those smaller stones.
Yeah,
so you could even just make a separate one of just those, or what I was doing for a while, and I really want to get back into it, was I used like the resin, and you put all the crystals in there, and I was putting little bits of copper in there as a conduit, and then it's like a worry stone, palm stone, but it has everything in it. So maybe I'll get the stuff, and I could always make that for you. And I could be
well, you're coming for a weekend, so like, if it snows, you'd be trapped. So bring your shit.
I'm gonna be sleeping on that fucking blow up mattress instead of my hotel room. By the way, we'll have to talk because there's so much we have to talk about. Guys, I'm not just going for fun. We're going to be filming more of the Devil's Lettuce movie, and I know this is Delvin Talk Show, but I want to bring up how I actually started that whole play, because it has nothing to do with cannabis originally. The Devil's Lettuce was an actual news article that I was sitting at a convention table as people are walking by me, and this article pops up. 3 guys find a human skull in the desert, smoke out of it, get sick, and start killing a ton of people. And I was like, that needs to be a movie. But I had just made Yield, which was all in forests and up hills. And I was like, I am now not going to go from trekking in forest to trekking in a desert. I am not doing that to myself. I'm not doing that to anybody. I'm not.
Oh, it's based in a desert? Oh, yes.
So I changed it. And I was like, fuck that shit. And I made it to be, you know, they started out in a graveyard, which makes more sense for a skull versus whatever happened in the desert. People get killed in the desert. Everybody saw those shows. Anyway, so, and that's how we started The Devil's Lettuce, was really because I had seen that article and I was like, that's insane. These 3 guys are in a jail somewhere in Texas, folks. I can't even find like any kind of record of it anymore. Okay, that's how weird this freaking thing was. I remember the con I was at. I remember where my table was, where I read this thing. I remember being so like, this needs to be a movie, that I was starting to write things down. I think, Jess, you were coming over to the table. I was like, hold on, as I'm still trying to write it out, because you know what happens when the automatic writing starts. It's like, I will probably die, but I'll finish this word. That's how I wrote half of my books, was just, my hand no longer works, but 4 books later. But that's how that even started. Now think about that. They literally were wandering in the desert. Why? Nobody wants to discuss that. Then they found a human skull in the desert. Just the human skull. Just the human skull. Okay.
That's a huge deal.
In a desert. Mm-hmm. And this is America, folks. We can't pretend it's anywhere else but like Texas.
Yeah, come on.
You know, and then literally they thought, let's smoke out of this thing. Okay, these 3 guys, I mean, you want to blame it on it being a desert and you're like, heat stroke, I can't. Smoke out of it, and then they start killing people, which means they left the desert somehow with the skull, and then went to civilization and started killing people. There is nothing I can find anywhere. I can't even find them in the public records for the jails in Texas. So where'd these fuckers go? What actually happened? There's another
Do you have
story.
their names?
No, that's the other thing. I can't find anything. And at the time, it was one of those like, okay, it's not going to be in a desert, but that's a good idea. I'm going to make a movie based on that. Guys, we have an Indiegogo campaign that's going to start February 20th. Please sign up now, because I have a giveaway going on for everybody who signs up before we go live, where you win 3 prizes totaling over $75, and it helps me and Jess and everybody else who are making this movie make this movie happen. And you know, everything costs, we know that. So bit.ly/the devil's lettuce coming soon. Okay, guys, feel free to sign up. You'll get an email from the Happy Horrors Productions Company letting you know that we're going to go live. We send you a special video to, you know, discuss it a little bit. And then once it goes live, you get an update before everybody else does, and all this great stuff. Plus you could win items. So throwing that out there as an idea, since we were talking about it. But it's that thought of like, they were in a desert. There was a skull. They decided to smoke out of it, and then they killed people. That's a lot. That's like, everybody's all excited about The Night Stalker. Okay? Which is Richard Ramirez.
Old news.
Right? I mean, the new thing, yeah, let's be super excited. I wrote The Bedtime Killer, and I actually did research on this dude, and like one of his favorite songs was an AC/DC song. So I opened up the Bedtime Killer book with a quote from that movie, that song. And then in the book, I even say something like, I wondered if they would be friends or whatever. Like, so when people are like, oh my God, The Night Stalker, I was like, did you hear about Horace? I'm like, because he's kind of like that, but worse. A little like nod to High Tension, but like, we think about how many people get killed and go missing, and there is no like solving some of these cases. Yes, Richard Ramirez, fine, but like, you know, the thought of this human skull just sitting around in a desert. Who was that? Who's missing somebody's head? There's a body missing a head.
Right.
That's like plain. This 90-something people, just corpses, and we're saying skeletons. So that means there's not even like decay or they've been dead for a while. It's like Raiders of the Lost Ark from Indiana Jones, just skeleton. Like, what? So what happened to all the decay? It just went poof. Where'd the rest of that body go? Nobody knows.
Right.
None of it matters. They just go bye-bye.
The animals got to it.
I mean, that'd be fine. Where's the rest of that body? Somebody's got to find it. They don't match it up. Nobody cares. Okay.
I mean, the dental records alone, they should have took into account.
Right? And then, weirdly, okay, so here's a weird connection, but it fascinates me, is I was watching Gardener's World, and please just stick with me because I know it sounds bizarre, which is a BBC show about literally like they're planting little flowers. And when I get really stressed out, I need just pretty things sometimes because I get really, really depressed. So I either watch kids shows or I watch like, look at that dahlia, that's a pretty flower, because like it's British and it's calm. Because I watch so much horror and gore or whatever else. But
same.
And in that, right? And in that, There was a moment where they were discussing at one of the places that they took every type of flower and leaf and whatever, took it down to the DNA level, put it in a database so that when they tested the honey from bees, they could find out what the bees were actually eating. Now, the reason why this is fascinating in a forensic sense is they could have taken this, put all the DNA of all the different types of, flowers, herbs, etc., and solve every case from every bit of grit. It's almost like Bones. Remember the show Bones with the guy that was from Angel and Buffy, the David whatever? They were constantly like, oh, see this soil sample because of this grit and blah, blah, blah. They don't really do that solving cases anywhere. You never hear they're like, oh, well, it's because this pollen leaf was. But imagine if they were using that kind of way
Technique, right?
to be checking stuff instead of what they're doing. But that's all we have time for tonight. It's been a fascinating hour, and I think we should go into that topic next week. We also have a guest next week, so we'll see if we can go into that one or not. We have Ernie Atwell, yes, paranormal investigator and epic dude. So we'll have that February 9th, Tuesday, p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So for tonight, thank you, everybody. Please leave comments about any subject that you want us to delve into, and we'll try to make sure that's an episode just for you. And Jess, thanks again, hon. This has been an awesome episode.
Love it.
Next Tuesday, everybody. See you then.
Bye. Bye.